This is ABC7 News at 6. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis.
And I'm Jacqueline Matter. Thanks for joining us this evening. First tonight, a deadly police-involved shooting leaves one man dead and two Palmetto police officers on administrative leave.
The investigation now in the hands of the state. 32-year-old Anthony Robinson was shot several times and killed at the Old Memphis Cemetery in Palmetto. Police say Robinson was firing shots into his father's home around 1:30 this morning. His father then called police. Officers tracked down Robinson, who left in a vehicle. Robinson then wrecked that car and then took off on foot into the cemetery with a handgun. Two Palmetto police officers followed him. Police say Robinson fired at police, who then returned fire and killed him. Both officers were not hurt.
I just hope that the community is patient and allows the impartial investigation to take place before we jump to conclusions. It's easy to say that the police overreacted, but we're also dealing with a very violent crime that had just occurred, and this is the individual that perpetrated it.
The state investigation is expected to last about a week. Chief Tyler acknowledged that Robinson had a criminal record but would not release the details.
Well, it all started last year when then backup NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick kneeled during the national anthem. Just recently, President Trump criticizing NFL players who don't stand during the Star-Spangled Banner, saying it's unpatriotic and calling on owners to fire those refusing to stand. ABC7's Dwayne Lindo has more on the local reaction on football players responding to the president's comments.
Whether it was kneeling, locking arms with teammates, or raising a fist during Sunday's games, the message for players and owners was clear, pointing out social injustice. President of the Sarasota County branch of the NAACP, Trevor Harvey, says there's a valid reason why many of these athletes are deciding to bring this out in the open.
Basically taking a stance to say, hey, this is my way to say, hey, something needs to be done about these ills that are happening within the minority community.
Harvey says part of the issue is the divisive rhetoric from the commander-in-chief.
What are you saying to our society when the President of the United States of America makes those kinds of comments, to individuals that have rights just like everybody else?
President of the Thompson Group, Rod Thompson, agrees the comments were inappropriate, but says the national anthem in any sporting event is one of the worst possible places to try to promote a cause.
It acts to be divisive among people who didn't need to be divided in that venue at that time.
Also saying the national anthem transcends any race or party politics.
And most people put their hand over their heart, sing to some degree, whatever. We all sort of honor that because we recognize the country we live in.
And the thought of protesting has even trickled down to the high school ranks. Bradenton Bayshore head football coach John Bazoons just recently had a player mentioning taking a knee.
We took it upon ourselves to kind of have a discussion with the players and never telling them one way or the other of what to do.
Giving them an opportunity to make an educated decision.
I think the students really open up and they kind of give their viewpoints.
Either way, says Harvey, this type of protest by athletes is extremely important.
We have individuals that are in the entertainment world as well as the sports world, basically partaking in what they feel is their God-given rights as social justice.
Well, both Thompson and Harvey admit that Trump's comments may have helped publicize a cause that not all sports fans were aware of.
Aware of it now, that's for sure. All right, let's get a check on our weather this afternoon with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Hi, Bob.
Hi, I tell you, we are looking at a nice day today, drier than it was the last two over the weekend. We expected those afternoon and evening storms. Certainly they came, and some of them were heavy at times, and now all that activity well inland, and it's not much as a result of some westerly wind. Now, normally we get that west sea breeze developing, and we have a nice easterly flow throughout the morning. The two collide, they converge, and big storms develop. That's not the case today. As a result of that west wind, we're not going to look for much along the coast at all. And with the west wind, sometimes you get an isolated shower right around sunrise, but I don't think that's going to be the problem. Right now, there are a few storms into inland counties in East Manatee County right now, just near Arcadia and to the southeast of Arcadia. All that activity moving to the southeast. And we have a flood warning still in effect. The flood stage is 11 feet for the Peace River at Arcadia. Right now, it's at 12.8, expected to go below flood stage by, it looks like, Friday afternoon. So still some flooding there. Not much as far as heavy rainfall goes, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It should not exacerbate the problem. Currently, we have 81 degrees. The heat index is at 87. The dew point way up there at 76. And winds are out of the west-northwest at 9. The pressure, 29.84 inches. Well, not looking healthy at all. We're starting to see some deep convection explode, though. Near the center, there was void of deep convection just about 5-6 hours ago. But still, it's poorly organized. It's just barely hanging on to hurricane status at this point. Maria will eventually move off to the north. It's not going to make landfall in the U.S., although there are tropical storm warnings out. It'll be close enough to bring them some tropical storm force winds there in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. But by 2 p.m. Wednesday, it should be back down to a tropical storm and then off into the open waters of the Atlantic. Still causing some problems along the East Coast, though, with some heavy surf and coastal erosion. More in the tropics coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Okay, Bob, thank you. The City of Venice holding a memorial today for all those lost during the terror attacks on September 11th, 2001. The memorial was originally scheduled for 9/11, but it was rescheduled because of Hurricane Irma. Today, the crowd heard from a variety of speakers who shared their thoughts on that horrific day 16 years ago. They also spoke on the state of our country today and how it has changed since the attack in New York, Washington, D.C., and the downed hijacked plane in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, has set up disaster relief at the Venice Community Center. FEMA representatives are in place to help register residents who have damage to their home as a result of Hurricane Irma. FEMA says they saw a need in that community as a large portion of the Venice population may not have access to the internet.
I think in this area, in Sarasota County, we've seen a lot of requests for folks who had flood damage. We have had people with roof damage. We have something called the Blue Roof Program.
The center will be open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. until Wednesday night at the Venice Community Center. After that, residents will have to register online.
Some of Florida's national and state parks could take weeks or longer to reopen after Hurricane Irma. The National Park Service sending about 380 workers to 15 parks in Irma's path here in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and into the Caribbean. The most common issues at these parks: downed trees, damaged buildings, and flooded roads and paths. The Gulf Coast Visitor Center at the Everglades City entrance to the Everglades National Park could be closed for months. Other Florida national parks that either closed or partially closed after Irma include Biscayne National Park and Dry Tortugas National Park. Bradenton's DeSoto National Memorial just reopened on Friday. Still to come tonight on your Suncoast News.
Homeland Security officials confirming election systems in 21 states were targeted by hackers. We'll have reaction to that shocking news.
Now you can win a $50 Visa. It's easy. Just enter the word of the week at mysuncoast.com. This week's word is pumpkin. We'll pick a winner each week. Good luck.
I'm Alan Cohn. Hurricane Irma may be gone, but the damage to Florida homes could cost billions. So why is the state loosening up building codes?
Tonight on ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Get the lowest prices of the year during the Ram Power Days event going on now at Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota. Don't just settle for what's available at a smaller lot. Come shop the Suncoast's largest selection of Ram trucks. Get maximum cargo space and more comfort with a new Ram Quad Cab at rock bottom pricing. Or spread out in your spacious new Ram Crew Cab and save up to $10,000. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089. It's Willamania at the Players Center as the Will Rogers Follies takes the stage September 27th. Part homespun humor and part Ziegfeld Follies, this toe-tapping Tony Award musical is the start of our wild Broadway series. So call the Players at 365-2494 or visit us at theplayers.org. You need to catch Willamania.
Download the all-new ABC7 First Alert weather app now.
Homeland Security officials are confirming election systems in 21 states, including Florida, were targeted by hackers. ABC7's Bobeth Yates brings us all the details.
The information came out late Friday when Florida Department of State sent an email to all area election supervisors. This email stating their systems were targeted but not breached.
Very troubling. And I think there have to be a lot more regulations.
Sarasota resident Dan Nee is talking about the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's official confirmation that hackers with possible connections to Russia indeed targeted 21 key battleground states during the November presidential election. But Sarasota election supervisor Ron Turner warns the public should not overreact to the news.
The attempt was unsuccessful, so that it was just some phishing emails when they were received in various counties or through the vendor itself. They recognized that it was a phishing attempt to try to gather information, and it didn't go any further.
According to the email sent to every election supervisor in the state, multiple counties, all using the same company to operate their voter registration systems, were targeted. And while Homeland Security has not publicly disclosed the cybersecurity details, we do know that Manatee and Sarasota counties were not impacted. And for areas in the state that were, it wasn't the voting system that was targeted, but instead their registration information.
We're not talking about the voting system that any of the counties use in the state of Florida. We're talking about a voter registration database vendor or unsuccessful hacking attempt there.
Turner says the state's voting system is not online, which means it cannot be accessed or breached via internet. He also adds additional safeguards are in place to prevent individuals from manually accessing the system without permission. Still, residents are concerned the news of the attempted hacking could have lasting impacts.
It's particularly scary if information gets out with people's voter affiliations and addresses, because I think people may shy away from voting, which is an incredibly terrible thing.
Again, area election supervisor systems were not breached, they were just targeted. Bobeth Yates, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Bobeth. 5 men are busted for solicitation of prostitution. Sarasota Police Department's Street Crimes Unit conducted an undercover prostitution operation recently. 5 men were arrested and each charged with solicitation. The men, ages 25 to 66, are from Bradenton, Sarasota, and Rhode Island.
Up next, Bob Harrigan has your first alert weather forecast.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251, 800-628-1251.
We asked our customers, why is Consumer Cellular your choice in wireless?
Consumer Cellular helps me save money. It's simple and easy.
It is reliable.
I like the fact that there are no contracts.
By moving to Consumer Cellular, my cost is 50% less than it was.
They fit the plan to you.
I have everything I want with Consumer Cellular.
Their customer service is fabulous.
Customers are the #1 priority.
I really feel like they take care of me.
We're proud to have received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 3 times in a row.
We really appreciate the AARP discount.
AARP members get exclusive discounts.
It's easy to switch.
You could use your own phone and you could use your own number. Wild horses wouldn't drag me away from Consumer Cellular.
Go with Consumer Cellular.
You're going to save a lot of money.
Switch today. It's all backed by a 30-day risk-free guarantee. Call 1-800-368-8758. Go online or visit a Target store today.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Well, it was certainly a nice weekend for the most part. Those showers really weren't hitting us until later on in the evening.
Later on in the day, yes, afternoon showers and storms. Summer-like weather actually occurred over the weekend, but a lot of events I went to got in, so it wasn't too bad. Had the Elks of Bradenton take out about 33 veterans fishing on Saturday, and then we had the Aqua Ventures clean up for the beaches and also the reefs around town, under and above the water, too, so they did that on Sunday. And we had Scalapalooza Saturday night.
Yeah, that's always a
well-attended event. Yeah, sold out. So the weather cooperated for the most part for the outdoor activities, and you didn't need to worry about it for Sarasota Yacht Club for Scalapalooza, which was a big success there, too. Spot the station tonight at 7:49. Look to the southwest, and it will get up to about 83 degrees above the horizon. That's way up there. It'll disappear northeast. It'll be up there for 6 minutes. Should be a nice night. Should be able to see skies. Should be relatively clear here along the coast. Well, let's get a look at what's going on now as far as the watches and warnings go. We got a lot of activity along the East Coast due to some high surf there generated by Maria, and there are rip current advisories in effect. On top of that, high surf advisories. The surfers are liking it, but obviously causing some coastal erosion there on the East Coast. We've had a few showers around, most of it inland though, on a west wind as a result of a high pressure ridge that continued to push everything off toward the east as opposed to the west like we saw over the weekend. So we're not anticipating anything too significant near the coast through this evening. And you can see that dry air. It's around. It'll be in place again tomorrow. Just a little bit more inland shower activity possible again tomorrow with that west wind being the dominant weather feature for us on Tuesday. Whenever you get that dominant west wind, it keeps temperatures for overnight lows a little bit above average and then highs a little bit below average. 81 degrees right now, though. It's 76 on the dew point. The heat index at 87. Not a big deal, but you can see some high clouds around. Should not obscure the sky too much. You should be able to get a peek of the International Space Station. And then the high was a little bit below average, but the low temperature was just 1 degree below average. We'll see lows tonight in the mid-70s. And, boy, we had some rain over the weekend, didn't we? 11.59 inches now, and we're 5 inches plus for the month and 16 plus for the year so far. And then the forecast for Tuesday, not calling for a lot of rain. I'm going to keep it at 20% for a few isolated, mainly inland showers and an isolated thunderstorm not out of the question. Well, it looks like Maria is weakening somewhat, although it's still a hurricane. It's a rather large wind field that has prompted the National Hurricane Center to issue tropical storm warnings for the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I'm going to watch that area down there in the Western Caribbean, too. This is Lee. We showed you where Maria is going. Now, this is Lee. Lee's still holding on to Category 1 status right now with 85-mile-an-hour winds, and I mentioned Maria. Maria is going to get close to the Carolina coast, but this is the area. Just a lot of moisture down there, deep tropics this time of year. Anything could pop up quickly, so we'll keep an eye on it for you. But right now, models are not hinting at anything significant at this point. Temperatures fall like over the northern Rockies and northern plains Much warmer, though, in Detroit and Chicago. 87 in Detroit, 89 in Chicago, now 91 in St. Louis. So temperatures really heating up on this big ridge of high pressure dominating the eastern United States. West winds at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be 1 to 2 feet with a light chop out there. Water temperature is at warm, 86 degrees. UV index high at 10, and looks like this for tides upcoming for Sarasota Bay. Low tide at 10:27, and another one at 12:19 tomorrow. Sunset 7:23, sunrise at 7:21. Mostly fair, mild tonight. Inland showers winding down, and then for tomorrow, 20% chance for late day showers. Most of the day should be nice, partly cloudy. 89 for a high there, and then 90-degree temperature is expected by Thursday. Better chances for showers and storms in the afternoon and evening as we head to Friday. We'll be right back after this.
This week, time's almost up in the high-stakes healthcare battle after Senator McCain's blow to the latest GOP plan. What's it take now for the president to broker a deal? This is Where America Turns. World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-738-9812. 800-738-9812.
40 million. That's the number of free phones still available and the number of how many Americans can still get prescriptions free.
Free could be wonderful.
That's why I'm still working at 77 years old to pay off my prescriptions.
I needed to have a prescription filled and I had to leave because I couldn't afford it.
Call now and see what's available for you. Free prescriptions. Over 10 million people get prescriptions free, and the program has expanded so another 40 million can. Free dental. Over 15,000 dentists have provided over $330 million in free dental work. Free cell phones. 40 million free cell phones are still available with free minutes and more.
Free cell phone would change my life right now because it is something I cannot afford to get.
Medical supplies like back braces, knee braces, and diabetic supplies may be covered too. The free RX Plus hotline has saved callers over $12 million on their prescription costs. These free programs are now available to 40 million more people. Call now.
Suncoast is growing by leaps and bounds. Just about everywhere you look nowadays, new buildings are going up.
Certainly, but during this growth, we must be careful to protect our historical treasures, as they are a big part of what makes this place a great place we call home. ABC7's Linda Carson has more from Venice.
The house at 613 Venice Avenue takes your breath away. Current owners, Kurt and Tommy Whitaker, invited us in for a tour.
We're in the front hall. There are a lot of doors around here.
Yeah, there's a total of 16 doors on the front level here in the house, all to create cross ventilation, right, during the warm months. And this is the front door where guests would come in. They would come into the big hallway and then step down and through into that courtyard.
And straight ahead down the hall.
There's two more rooms. You're going into the living room, which is an original sunken living room, and then came what was considered a library.
The house was built in 1927 by the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers.
This house was supposed to be for a vice president, and then the stock market crash and the Great Depression. So the house sat empty for 3 years.
The first owner bought it in 1930.
The first owner was Fitzhugh William Hansel and his wife Florence Owen Hansel. And while they were Americans, he traveled abroad first as a young soprano singer, mostly in Italy, and then later, as he grew up and his voice deepened, he became a booking agency out of New York City.
His clients were top entertainers like Isidore Duncan and Caruso.
In his late 40s, early 50s, founded what was called Columbia Concerts Corporation, and that was a group of producers in New York City that came together to put on Broadway productions. And That group then got into radio and began to do productions for radio, and they ended up, at the end of the day, that turned into the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And although the family only used it as a winter residence, they had a staff of 4.
They had 2 live-in maids. The ladies wore French uniforms. We have photos of them. You had a chauffeur/butler, and you had a houseboy.
Tommy found amazing old pictures of the house in the attic. The house is large, over 5,500 feet. 1,200 of that is hallways. Despite its historical significance, it could legally be torn down. But the Whitakers are passionate about preserving and protecting it.
If we don't protect our history, just like a Polaroid, it fades away.
The house also has one of the first elevators in the area. It was installed when the house was first built back in 1927, and it still works today. Linda Carson, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Certainly a nice story there. Some great history in Venice.
They really built those elevators well, didn't they, back
yeah,
then?
back then, yeah, absolutely. See Linda ride that, see how it's working. Weather's working pretty good for us tonight.
Yeah.
Do you have any outdoor plans?
And it's 7:50 tonight?
Yeah, just around 7:49. Look to the southwest. You should see it. The skies will be clear, moving to the northeast.
Great. Thanks, Bob.
World News Tonight with David Muir is next. We'll see you back here at 11.